not a YouTuber, just like making videos. In this video here, you know, I'm going to talk about current events and talk about my own experiences and so forth. You know, talking about Alfred Wright. But I'm not going to just talk about him. I'm going to just talk about, as I said, racism on a whole. So the thing is, people always talk about how this country is progress. And, you know what I'm saying, progress can be looked at as an illusion. As a delusion. You know, take South Africa. Yeah, they progress, you know what I'm saying. Apartheid is, you know what I'm saying, apartheid has been uninstalled there. But there's still racial tensions. Matter of fact, you know what I mean, some racial tensions grew. I remember hearing some white people being interviewed saying, yeah, but when you know what I'm saying, when apartheid was in effect, she had no problems with black people. But now she says she can't stand them. And a lot of whites left South Africa. You know, they got the hell out of Dodge. They went back to Australia, Belgium, wherever the hell they came from, the Netherlands. So that it just shows you the, as I said, the delusion of progress. That sometimes it may make a lot of distractors even more angry. You know, with more, you know, make them more vicious. Now, I'm going to talk to you about this a place that I know called Martinsville, Indiana. Now, you know, it's no secret, you know what I'm saying, I do Medicaid transport, you know what I'm saying, midwives, you know, transporting people to the hospital, you know, back and forth, you know what I'm saying. I'm not ashamed of my job. No, it's not my dream job. I didn't, you know, I didn't say as a kid that I want to do this. I still have my other dreams, but it pays the bill. It pays pretty good money. But I was transporting this woman to Martinsville, Indiana. And while she was in my van there, she kept telling me about how she wasn't a racist, how she wasn't a bigot, that she grew up in some other town and she had plenty of black friends, and you know what I'm saying, that same old rigmarole, you know what I'm saying, that rah-rah, you know, that yada yada yada. You know, you kind of like, and then it kind of dawned on me why she was telling me this. I'm like, okay, I'm taking her to Martinsville, Indiana, a place that is known. You know, I'm like, it's the epicenter of racist in the state of Indiana. So she's trying to convince me that she wasn't like, you know, her fellow residents and so forth. Now the thing is with whites have a tendency to deny their own racism or downplay it, you know, or talk about, oh, we moved on, we got a black president. You know, they'll say that these racial extremists or whatever are in the minority. You know, according to them, you know what I'm saying, America has, but you go to Indiana, amongst white people, and you mention, just the mere mention of Martinsville, you know, I'm like, you can see the look on people's faces. You know what I mean? You see their faces freeze up. Especially if you're a black person. It's kind of like that movie, Pee-wee's Playhouse. No, not Pee-wee, but Pee-wee's Big Adventure, when he went into that truck stop / diner and he said, Large Mars sent me. Now people reacted. That's how it is. I'm like, white people will not keep it a secret that this place is racist. As much as whites try to deny their, you know what I'm saying, not their bigotry, you know what I'm saying, amongst fellow white people, they won't deny it. They'll just flat out tell you blatantly that Martinsville, Indiana is a racist place. A black person should not be there, period, whether it's day or night. You know? So, and then when I am, you know what I'm saying, got into this little town, I started looking around because my first time in there, and it seemed like I was in a twilight zone. It seemed like time has stopped. You know what I mean? It seemed like the world passed this place by. Cause I'm like, if it, you know, like nothing there was seemed hit her toe, except for the cars. You know what I'm saying? You had submodern cars, but people in this town weren't rich, so they didn't have any fancy cars. But I'm like, the movie looked, the whole town looked like it. Nothing evolved since the 1950s. Literally, the letterings on the buildings, the old-fashioned diner or whatever. I think they had like a Burger King there, but it was like an old-fashioned looking Burger King and so forth. Some of the gas, I'm like, there was a gas station there, even though it wasn't open, that literally had the old-time pumps. What do you, the ones, you know what I'm talking about, where that it has the meter there, that's on the analog pumps, I would say. You know, I was driving by it because I wanted to get gas, and you know what I'm saying, she was, and the female was telling me, like, if you want to get gas, you best want to get out. She said no gas station was open, but you best get out to town to get gas. And she was also telling me that that recently there was just passing out Ku Klux Klan flyers. And she said, well, she said she wasn't like that because she was proving to me she wasn't a racist. And she said she ripped it up. You know, she said she ripped it up right in front of their faces. So I'm like, yeah. I'm like, even when I left, you know, and went to a gas station and was talking to somebody and asked them how to get back to State Road 37, because I kind of got, you know what I'm saying, wrapped around or whatever, you know how it is. And they looked at me like, you know, both the gas station attendants, you know what I'm saying, the cashiers or whatever, both of them looked at me like Martinsville, like they, you know what I'm saying, the eyes widened. You know, see, it's like this. It's like sometimes, like, there's a place called Brownsburg, and a lot of black people claim that Brownsburg was racist. I've been there, but I've never seen it. Maybe there is, but you know what I'm saying, the white people I come across, they didn't never gave me the impression Brownsburg was a racist place. That was a place that a black person would be in danger in, especially if there's black people that live in Brownsburg. So sometimes when black people say something is racist, I understand you do have to take it with a grain of salt. You know what I'm saying? Maybe emotions are running high. But hence, when you have this small hickory-dickory dock town, which by my knowledge, no black person lives in, and white people themselves, as much as they try to deny racism, will tell you, hey, it's a racist place, a black person should be there. And the killer part is, this seems like a town that's populated with maybe construction workers, janitors, and auto mechanics, tow truck drivers. Probably a lot of these guys probably have to drive out of town for work because it didn't seem like much work was there. But that's what I'm saying. These are the type of stone cold racists that, in my opinion, will still, you know what I mean, light that fire. You know, they'll still put a noose around your neck, even though they're productive members of society and taxpayers. But I do know in a lot of these hickory towns, there's a lot of people that's living off the system, living off welfare and food stamps. I'm like, even the grocery store in that place was just, that place was, maybe I should have put it on my iPhone, you know, how backwards that place was. But yeah, so dang, you know what I mean, I lost my spot. But yeah, you know what I'm saying, a lot of the white races we have to worry about are dudes that have jobs. See, that's the thing. See, when it comes to black degenerates, let's say if a white guy was walking around down the street in a black neighborhood and some dudes jumped him, and you know what I'm saying, and hurt him because of his skin color, because of who he was, I would assume that these peoples are, you know what I'm saying, these black men are boys, are degenerates. You know what I'm saying? They're social misfits. I seriously doubt a black man who's a tow truck driver or a hall monitor in a school or a security guard is going to just assault a white man because he's white. That he's going to put his freedom in jeopardy, his livelihood in jeopardy. As if a lot of these white dudes, you know what I'm saying, they're buddies with the police officers. You know what I mean? They're buddies with the sheriff. You know what I mean? They you know what I'm saying, they won't hesitate. Some of these people won't hesitate to do harm to a black man. You know what I'm saying? And not even think about the repercussions, because there may not be any repercussions at all. You know what I mean? So they don't even have to think twice about it. And that's what I think about when think about Alfred Wright. You know, the guys who did that was, you know, sheriff was probably in on it and everything else. You know, I worked at a jail. I know for a fact a lot of my co-workers were racist. A lot of them lived in, you know what I'm saying, all white towns that don't care to see a black person unless he's working on a telephone pole or some shit like that, and they'll still try to do something to him. But yeah, racism is on the rise. It's not, I won't say it's on the rise, but as much as we progress one way, you know what I'm saying, you're going to have a counteraction happening. You know what I'm saying? And we tend to focus on the positive and not focus any on the negative. Like, I recently came across a story about neo-Nazi music is on the rise. Now, let me show you the clip.
What do we want? What do we want?
White supremacist and neo-Nazi rock music is flourishing worldwide. According to the Southern Poverty Law Center, which tracks hate groups, music sales are a primary source of income for racist groups and a rich recruiting ground for new members. In the U.S., racist music can easily be purchased online. Poverty Law Center says the number of hate groups it monitors has exploded to over 1,000 in the years since Barack Obama's election. Poverty Law Center says the number of hate groups it monitors has exploded to over 1,000 in the years since Barack Obama's election. There's also evidence neo-Nazis have a presence in the institution that Americans say they admire the most, the U.S. military. These photos showing active-duty military personnel displaying racist and neo-Nazi tattoos were collected by investigative journalist Matt Kennard.
White supremacists and neo-Nazis have always seen the US military as a way to attain training in weapons and tactical skills, etc., that they can use back on the streets of the United States.
In a book titled Irregular Army, to be published later this year, Kennard says the military lowered its standards, allowing extremists to join up in order to fill its ranks while fighting the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, I would say situation's getting critical, folks. Situation is getting critical. And I also would like to say, see, that's why I'm glad my videos are going in a different direction. And I would say that a lot of these bootlickers and buck down, see, that's the thing. You can easily, see, the thing is, with black people, a lot of black people, they feel that if racism, if it never happened to them, that it don't exist. That when black people gripe about it, it's hyperbole, you know, because it just didn't happen to them. This is silly, you know what I'm saying? And Dr. Hendricks Clark stated that blacks were naive and gullible. You know, I think about, you know what I'm saying, animals, and how animals, you know what I'm saying, it's in their, you know what I'm saying, they have a basic instinct. You know what I'm saying? They're born knowing what is a clear and present danger to them. Like a rabbit. You know what I'm saying? A rabbit may say, well, I've never been attacked by a fox. I've never been chased by a fox or any of its other predators. But he knows to stay away from it. He knows even to be wary. Even if some other animal that a rabbit doesn't recognize is just wandering around on its warren, it's still going to be like, it's still going to take caution. Us blacks, we're just, so many blacks are real quick to let our guard down and be at ease and be like, you know, racism is over and so forth, even though there's just so much evidence of it on the net and on the news. And the thing is, you can easily find a black dude, a bootlegger, to tell you that racism is not a threat. You know, white people racist. I'm not worried about these white dudes. Just like what Painless Risen said. You know what I'm saying, when they say, you know what I mean, it's open season on black men, but he said, well, I'm worried about other black dudes. And it's not, I'm not worried about white dudes. So even though, see, the thing is when with white people, even the liberal whites, you know, that listen to rap music and want to rebel against the government and shit, you know what I mean, that you know, that are graffiti artists or whatever and like to paint anarchy everywhere. even they know that there's a lot of black people who are criminals. If we come up to them, and even though they're not raised and say, hey, you know, there's a lot of black criminals out there, there's a lot of black people that are assaulting people, they'll agree with you. They'll tell you like, well, maybe it's because of how they was dealt a bad hand in life. But even the liberal whites will agree with you, and even the liberal whites will be weary of the type of neighborhood they're in. They'll be cautious of black people. They know, even if they never was assaulted by a black person, you know, they'll still know, yeah, black people are committing crimes. If they're in a predominantly black neighborhood, there is a clear and apparent danger there. You know, but why is it that these black bootleggers don't realize that, you know what I'm saying, they feel that if, you know what I'm saying, if nothing ever happened to them, that, you know what I'm saying, that it just doesn't happen. You know what I'm saying, it's non-existent. Racism is a figment of the black man's imagination and so forth. You know, but that's all I want to say. But you know, but Texas is a pretty racist state. You know, bear in mind they wanted to break off. You know, when Obama became in office twice, they wanted to break off and form their own little nation. You know what I'm saying, their own little separate union and so forth. But that's all I want to say. Thanks for watching, and sally forth.